When it comes to becoming a wristwatch enthusiast, one of the last territories to conquer, one of the final frontiers to explore, is wristwatch straps. Now, this is often a source of confusion and ambiguity and misunderstanding, even amongst collectors. And so I'm going to be doing a series of videos on wristwatch straps, breaking down a number of different themes and what I think will be hopefully helpful information points for anyone who's trying to deepen their understanding and appreciation of this very rich aspect of the wristwatch hobby. Now in this video, I'm going to be specifically talking about leather straps, which have always played a very significant role in the history of wristwatches, which I'll touch on briefly. But more specifically, what I'm going to be talking about is the history of some of these types of straps and what these straps are often called. It's going to be a very entry-level video for hardcore collectors, but hopefully I'm going to develop some nomenclature so people can understand when I say something like a rally strap or a army strap or a stitch strap. Some of these things that when you're talking about wristwatch straps, there's a lot of different aspects to talk about. And with leather straps, there are even sort of subset topics that most wristwatch collectors would consider to be important aspects of the conversation. And so I'm not going to talk entirely about every leather wristwatch strap topic in this video. What I'm going to focus on is just the types of straps that are out there and their historical connections. I think this is a good starting point to be able to appreciate the difference between some of the straps that you'll see out there, understanding the backgrounds of these different types of straps and what they're often called. It's an important conversation that needs to be had before we talk about, well, which straps are the best or where are they being made and who are the best makers. That's something that I will consider in a second video that I'm developing, where I'm going to compare, say, this very cheap and generic leather Nato strap with this Horween Shell Cordovan strap. Now, this strap is a $100 strap. This strap is maybe a $10 strap. There's a huge difference in quality that exists amongst leather straps, and it has a lot to do with the materials used, the quality of leather that's used, where the leather is sourced, and the manufacturing process, who's making it and how they're making it. That's going to be a second video that I'm going to be dealing with after I do this first video, initially just considering what are these straps, where did they come from historically in the history of wristwatches. Let's start with the popular, almost ubiquitous Nato strap. Now, interestingly, the one-piece strap has been around for a long time, but its popularity could probably be attributed to the 1964 James Bond film Goldfinger, with Sean Connery wearing a one-piece nylon strap on a fantastic 6538 Submariner, a big crown Submariner. Now, that nylon style was very popular as a result of the movie, but the actual very specific Nato strap style that you'll find, for example, on this strap was something that didn't come around until a later period. Specifically, we can trace the Nato strap to 1973, where the British Ministry of Defence Standard, or DEFSTAN, developed a strap they called the G10 strap. Now, it's been called the Nato strap as a kind of abbreviation, as some people think of the NATO stocking number or an NSN, but that actually is not really where the strap's name came from. It's kind of a misnomer, as a matter of fact. So the G10 strap was just a nylon strap with some very specific design points, namely this extra piece of fabric here and the extra hardware here to ensure a very secure strap. The idea, of course, with the Nato strap, and I think one of the reasons for its popularity, was that it allowed for the watch to remain very securely on the wrist, even in the event of a bracelet failure. And this is what's really interesting. So you can see the strap is put on through the back of the lugs, and then the second strap comes around to secure the watch by actually two sets of leather. Now, what's very interesting here is that put your watch through here, imagine it on the wrist, it's going to be very hard for this watch to get lost. Even say if one of the lug bars breaks, it's still going to be very attached to this other lug bar, and the watch on the whole is going to remain on your wrist. Now, this is a proper NATO style strap with the square hardware. There are straps that are out there with round hardware that are probably best described as G10 Zulu straps with more robust hardware. And there are very popular straps like this Hodinkee Shell Cordovan one-piece strap, which I've just beaten to a pulp, which is just a simple one-piece leather strap. I haven't seen a lot of historic pictures of one-piece leather straps like this one, but I'm sure that they were around. Overall, though, I think we can attribute the popularity of these simpler one-piece straps to the revival of the NATO strap as being a sporting choice for wristwatches, both with nylon and with leather. And then these leather straps, we're basically just seeing very thin pieces of leather so that they mimic the application of a regular NATO strap. The appeal of a thin leather strap like this, of course, is that it's going to be very lightweight on the wrist. It's going to be comfortable for break-in. It's going to be generally very soft from the start. And generally, you're going to be able to adjust it pretty finitely. Unlike some of these more robust military straps, they're going to come probably with a lot of different holes for you to adjust. It's going to be very comfortable and very secure. The disadvantages are is that especially on standard NATOs, the hardware is fairly flimsy compared to the Panerai style straps I'll be discussing in a little bit. And also the quality level greatly varies. So one NATO strap is not equal to another, although I will be getting into how you can tell the difference between one kind of strap from another in quality in another video that I'll be posting. Next up, we have what is probably the most commonplace strap amongst leather straps of all, and this is the padded or lined strap. Now, this strap encompasses a huge category of straps of a variety of styles, sort of more military styles. This is a style that you'll often find on entry-level field watches. Of course, the dress watch is almost entirely outfitted with either a bracelet or some kind of formal padded or lined strap. And then it's just a huge variety of quality too. So like this is a Hamilton strap. This would cost well over $100 with this butterfly clasp. This is a Wenger strap, and this was probably 30 or 40 bucks when it was new. It's quite an old strap. And then you have straps like this, which you can just get at Walmart, made by a variety of makers in a variety of countries. I'll be talking about where these straps are sourced from in another video. What I wanted to just talk about in this video was construction and the advantages of this kind of strap. And we're going to actually take apart this Wenger strap. I thought it'd be kind of interesting. You can see that it's already cracked significantly. You can tell that it's lined. And if we actually just cut that in half, you'll see that there's just a piece of foam lining on the inside. As we're cutting, you might just, observe how the backs of this strap vary significantly from the backs of like this Hamilton strap. The quality of leather used in these kinds of straps varies greatly. And so you just find a little foam piece here. So this is a great example of just showing you how these straps are lined or padded or stuffed. However you call it, there's a liner or a core that's surrounded by leather. Typically, it's a strap that's the most complex as far as the pieces of leather are concerned, and it's also the one that generally is going to use the largest variety of kinds of leather. Here we can see the strap was a genuine leather strap. What is going to vary greatly is the exterior of the strap versus the interior. You can see two different types of leather here. And also the way the holes are positioned, the kind of buckles that you use. Really, it's a huge variety that's hard to encompass. The quality variety is humongous, and the differences in how sturdily they're built is humongous. I mean, just compare the thickness of these straps, for example. It's remarkable how much more aligned the Hamilton strap is, and how actually this piece of leather is glued and stitched in a very complicated way compared to these cheap Kmart and Wenger straps. There's just a lot more details in the construction of these straps. Okay, so the advantages of these straps are definitely the versatility. As you can see, there's a huge variety of different styles within this construction. There are a huge variety of widths and lengths available, so you'll be able to find one at any size. These straps historically don't have any one precedence, obviously, since they kind of encompass a large category. Thanks for working with me there. But I would say that the kind of ubiquitous padded strap style really became popular in the 80s with Breitling and their padded straps. Their heavily padded Breitling straps really is what I think made these straps enter into the imagination as a style of strap. Of course, you have formal straps that have always been on luxury watches, high-end watches, that are kind of a separate thing, and there's this kind of almost a separate amount of information that you could talk about with high-end straps and the kind of materials and construction that goes into them. But I group them together because in general the construction is the same, where there's multiple pieces of leather and they are aligned. Advantages, well, beyond the variety, you're going to have straps that can really conform to the shape of your wrist nicely. In the case of this Hamilton strap, this is a German strap. I think it's a De Model. I could be wrong about that, but the original OEM of this strap was in Germany, made for Hamilton, and it is a very high quality strap that's really broken in beautifully. Of course, another advantage of these straps, as you can see, is you're going to have a variety of clasps that are going to work with these different kinds of straps. This is another Hamilton branded strap here that has two sets of holes, just a nice stylistic nod to, of course, the Hamilton H. In many of these cheaper straps, you're going to find integrated spring bars, and this is something that's definitely nice for quickly swapping out the different straps that you might have on a watch. So this is something that might be good for someone who needs to have a certain amount of versatility in their small collection. Have a bunch of padded straps that will allow you to easily and quickly exchange the straps. Now, of course, integrated spring bars are something that many watch manufacturers have OEM designs for, or designs that are specific for the manufacturer. But cheap padded straps with built-in lug bars are very easy to find in most sizes. So that's one thing that is definitely nice about it. Disadvantages are for sure they break and they wear out in a very catastrophic way, for lack of a better word. Once they really start cracking, not only are they very uncomfortable, but they're not reliable. I would never want to be wearing a strap that's just beat up on any kind of adventure. They would break and the strap would be responsible for the loss of your watch. So definitely things to consider with padded straps. Very ubiquitous with some obvious advantages, but certain real disadvantages as well. Next up, we have what I'll generally describe as military style straps, but these could be described in other ways as a rugged leather strap or as a Panerai strap. And so let's start with that last name first, because in a way I think that this gives the most specific history of this kind of style of strap, and maybe some of these other styles are derivative of this very military, robust style. Now, in the 1930s, Panerai, an Italian watch company, came to Rolex and they said, we need watches built for our divers, the Italian Navy frogmen, who required very robust waterproof watches for their diving missions. And Rolex built those watches famously, and at the same time Panerai had to develop a way to ensure that those robust tools would stay on the wrist in the harshest of environments. And so naturally they just overbuilt their straps drastically. And so what you have on a typical Panerai style strap is huge pieces of leather, Very simple construction, very robust stitching. In a way, it's a very straightforward design. That's often coupled with a huge buckle. This is called the pre-V buckle, a reference to early Panerai style buckles. These are buckles that are obviously meant to ensure that the watch is never going to accidentally become unbuckled as a result of the harsh conditions that the wearer might be in. Now, there are obvious real advantages to these kind of straps. The first advantage, of course, is that you're getting these glorious pieces of leather that have so much character and so much variety. Panerai guys have one thing going for them, and that is they can accessorize their watches in an incredible way. So just Google Panerai Strap collections, and you'll see the huge variety of leather, the huge variety of craftsmanship that's out there. I get that. I think that would be really enjoyable. It allows you to work with a lot of small makers. And the leather itself is something that, as far as direct and immediate tactile enjoyment goes, there's just something really fantastic about the huge varieties of leather, high quality leather that's out there. Where the leather's sourced from, why they're stitched in different ways, there's really interesting, unique histories on all of these, and I can't describe them all in depth, but in many cases, these were leathers that were taken from military applications and then used again or repurposed for watch straps. And so one thing that you'll frequently see is a strap like this be described as an ammo strap, where the makers are actually taking real vintage, oftentimes Swiss, ammo bags or ammo pouches and making straps out of them. This isn't always true, but the ammo style strap is very popular. You'll see a variety of kinds of stitching in vintage Panerais. You'll most frequently see this kind of just double stitching all the way down, which is just ensuring that the folded over leather is super robust and super nice. One style that you frequently see is this style with the double side stitching. This is something that Hodinkee, the watch blog, has greatly popularized, and this style definitely is just a nice, clean, minimal look, but still sets the watch apart a little bit from just a plain leather strap like a plain one-piece leather Nato. You'll have a variety of buckles here. There's no way I could get into all the varieties of Panerai buckles. There's just a ton of them, but the most common ones you'll see are ones like this super robust pre-V buckle or thumbnail buckles like this. You'll have other variations of this buckle that are flat and other variations of this thumbnail buckle that might be more robust or slim in different respects. Again, the advantage of these straps are the fantastic variety of leathers and the amount of character that these straps will acquire over time thanks to the patina that they'll be able to acquire because they're so sturdy. The disadvantages of these kind of straps are they typically will take some time to break in. This strap happens to be broken in very nicely from the factory. This is one of the Wrist Candy Watch Club straps, and it is beautifully soft and supple from the very start. This strap, however, as you can see, it's not supple at all, and it would definitely be uncomfortable to wear and take quite a bit of time to be nicely broken in. You have to be aware of the levels of quality with these straps. I think I'll do a separate video just talking about how many different makers there are, especially with these kind of style of straps. There's so many custom makers of Panerai style straps, it's staggering. The disadvantage of these straps, in addition to the various levels of quality and the fact that you have to break them in, would be that you often pay more for this style of strap, which in a way it economically makes sense. You're paying for more leather, you're paying for better leather, you're paying for overbuilt design and overbuilt style of making, and so it's just going to be an expensive strap to make as far as sourcing quality leather and ensuring that it's well built. Last but not least, we have the racing strap. Now, I maybe could have fit this in with the padded straps or with the Panerai straps, but I think that it's just a little bit of a different animal, so I thought I would put it in a different category. They can be either constructed like a military strap with a single piece of leather. This one happens to have a thin leather backing, a beautiful strap. Sometimes they are made in a padded style with the holes in it. You often see Take Hoyers with that style of strap. This strap tends to be tapered, which means it's going to start at your lug width and then go to a narrower width. Generally, that's going to be more comfortable actually than just a big, thick military strap. The disadvantages is there might not be quite as much flexibility in sizing. That would depend, of course, where you're buying it from. If you're buying from a large Swiss manufacturer, they're going to often come in standard sizes. If you're buying custom, you probably will be able to specify that. You're going to get a variety of leathers, typically not as much as the Panerai style straps, but they are going to be able to suit a variety of watch styles. And they're popular, maybe not as hugely popular as the Panerai style straps, but there are a number of choices out there. The advantages of the tapering hold are a couple. First of all, it's going to be a little bit lighter, a little bit more easily able to conform to movement in the wrist, which is sort of appropriate considering that this is sort of meant to suit a driving watch. The holes, of course, are going to make it more breathable and ultimately make the strap a little bit more comfortable to wear. I think the coolest part about these rally style straps though is just the nod to the cars that they're imitating. Really, this is a stylistic thing meant to imitate those awesome vintage cars that took drastic and very literal weight saving measures by cutting out weight, oftentimes in the cabin, and you'll see this, for example, in beautiful vintage Porsches. Altogether, there's a huge variety of leather straps out there on the market, and it is helpful to have kind of a baseline understanding of the ways that they're constructed and the styles that are very commonplace. Each of these straps represent what could be a collection in its own right, and as a watch aficionado, appreciating some of the history and some of the background of these different styles of straps is something that I'm happy to share with you today. I want to let you know that many of these straps came from Wrist Candy Watch Club, a up-and-coming strap maker that gave me a variety of these straps as samples for review, and rather than reviewing each of these straps individually, I wanted to create something that I thought would have a more universal appeal. So please check out Wrist Candy Watch Club, and thank you very much for these straps. It's been invaluable in making this review. If you found this interesting, please make sure to like and subscribe. If you are new to the channel, let me know, and let me know what you'd like to see. Thanks a lot for your time.